It's like the plot of a Hollywood movie. A man and a woman disguised as a man break into Jerry Boggs' home. They attack him with a stun gun, hit him over the head with a shovel, and shoot him 3 times in the back. Jerry dies instantly. The court believes Jerry knew his killer. The disguised woman is his ex-wife, Jill Coit. They were fighting over property and about to go to civil court. Jerry had uncovered some secrets about Jill's past. Did she kill to keep them buried? That's what the prosecution told the jury. Jill Coit and her co-defendant Michael Backus are charged with Jerry's murder. To this day, Jill maintains she didn't do it. Is she an innocent woman, or is she a black widow who uses men to her advantage? From her prison cell in Florida, Jill Coit speaks out. I'm Candice DeLong. As an FBI agent, I worked on the front line for the world's most powerful law enforcement agency. I went undercover, I trailed terrorists, and I interviewed notorious killers. It's my job to understand the people who others cannot comprehend. October 1993, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. 52-year-old Jerry Boggs is savagely attacked and killed. It's a messy crime scene, and police have no doubt this is murder. They immediately start looking at his ex-wife, Jill Coit, a woman with an appetite for love, sex, men, and matrimony. She has been married 11 times to 9 different men. 2 of those husbands were murdered. She was convicted of 1 killing and questioned about the other. Jill is serving life here at the Homestead Correctional Institution in Florida. It's been her home for 16 years. As I arrive at the prison to meet Jill for the first time, I'm curious to find out more about her relationships with men. They've played such a big role in her life, but are they the problem, or is she?
Hi.
Hello, Jill, Candice.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Have a seat. Thank you.
So, Jill, let's go way back. You were a young girl, you grew up in New Orleans.
Yes.
How would you describe your childhood?
I had a wonderful childhood. I had loving parents, happy family, work was important, values were important.
In her late teens, Jill does some acting and modeling. She is a natural at switching her emotions on and off. I wonder if that's how she acts with her many husbands. In July 1961, Jill marries husband number 1.
Tell me about your first marriage.
That was a disaster. I was under the impression back then, nice girls didn't have sex before marriage.
That was the...
Yes.
The mores.
I basically, probably, I shouldn't be saying this on camera, wanted to have sex, so I got married.
That's not so unlike many people that were teenagers in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
So in the next 8 years, you were married 4 more times and 3 divorces.
I've divorced every time.
You like men.
I don't ask men to marry me. They ask me to marry them. Okay?
Is there something that always happens that makes you go,
No.
I gotta get out of here?
Obviously, the problem's me and not the people I've married, because I'm the one that always wants a divorce. I'm well-educated, well-adjusted, happy, and then I lose interest.
For some people, the hunt and the chase, as it's called, for another person to be in their life ends up being more exciting than the actual marriage. Is that what things were like for you?
I don't chase, they chase me.
It seems very important to Jill to be the hunted, not the hunter. Over the next 20 years, another 7 men will chase and marry Jill. The most significant is husband number 3, W.C. Coit.
William Clark Coit.
William Clark Coit.
Yes, fantastic man.
Great.
Really the love of my life. I measured every male that I ever married against him.
So why, after 3 years, does the love of her life end up dead?
Did you benefit financially from W.C.'s passing?
There was a small life insurance policy.
Jill Coit is a woman of many faces. The ex-model has no trouble attracting men who are happy to marry her. Jill's first and second husbands were short affairs, but husband number 3, W.C. Coit, is different. He is the love of her life.
And then what happened?
I was in New Orleans, and he was in Houston. He was supposed to have come over for our son's birthday party, and he didn't make it. I learned the next day that he had been killed.
According to police, W.C. Coit was shot 3 times in the back. There was no sign of forced entry. The police believe he opened the door to someone he knew. Jill was in the process of divorcing him, so police question her.
The police did check out. There was no possible way for me to have gone from New Orleans to Houston and commit a murder.
Okay.
They deemed it not feasible, and they checked everything possible. I was never even charged or anything like that.
Someone murdered W.C. Coit, but to this day, a killer has never been brought to justice.
Did you benefit financially from W.C.'s passing?
There was a small life insurance policy, very small. Okay. Remember, compared to his salary, the life insurance policy was nothing.
Records say otherwise.
What did it say?
$156,000 in
I don't remember that. I'm
retirement.
sorry.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember, honestly.
Okay.
Jill soon leaves New Orleans and moves to California, but she is never far from a justice of the peace. 2 years after W.C. Coit's mysterious death, Jill marries. Again and again, again and again, and again. 5 more husbands over 20 years.
They're not WC, and they don't measure up, and I tell people ahead of time, I'm sorry, but I'll probably end up divorcing you, and everyone says, oh no, you'll never divorce me. And unfortunately, I do. It's not a matter of marrying for money. I don't take anything from a marriage. If you look at the records, I walk away and they walk away.
After separating from husband number 7, Jill moves to Steamboat Springs, Colorado to open a bed and breakfast. It's in need of renovation, and she soon becomes a regular at Boggs Hardware. It's here that she meets the owner, 50-year-old bachelor Jerry Boggs. Within months, they plan to marry. It will be Jerry's first, Jill's 8th. Or is it?
We might as well address the issue of everyone saying I was married to him. We applied for a marriage license. In order to be married, you have to return an original copy of a marriage license to the court. That was never done.
Why not?
Because I decided not to marry him. I learned, I don't want to say this, I learned some personal things about Jerry Boggs that I was uncomfortable with. Therefore, I refused to be married to him.
Okay.
This is a revelation. Jerry's family and the entire community of Steamboat Springs believe that Jill and Jerry are husband and wife. But according to Jill, they are not.
But he thought you were married?
No. No, he knew we weren't married. If you act like you're married and people think you're married, which is what happened with Jerry Boggs and I went along with the
Meaning
we're married.
You were living together as man and wife?
Not sexually.
Okay.
Living in the same house.
Okay.
If you do that, you're considered married.
Why did Jerry marry you? Or what did he say?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to say it then. So that people wouldn't think he was gay. And they were correct. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be saying this. I didn't want to say this, but that's why Jerry Boggs married me.
Jerry's alleged homosexuality is widely disputed, and it makes what happens next even stranger. Shortly into the marriage, Jill claims she's pregnant.
If I'm guilty of anything, that's what I'm guilty of.
By age 40, Jill Coit has been married 9 times. She's just left husband number 7 when she moves to the ski town of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. It is here she meets hardware store owner Jerry Boggs. Within months of living together, Jill announces she is pregnant. At 50, Jerry is excited by the news. But Jill's pregnancy is a lie.
I've never been pregnant with Boggs. It would have been impossible because the marriage was never consummated. You have to have sex to be pregnant.
Jill insists Jerry knew she wasn't pregnant and that they were planning to adopt a child, but tell everyone it was their own.
Jerry said, and the friends of his confirmed, he believed you were pregnant and that the two of you together told people that you were expecting a child.
I wanted to adopt a child. I've always wanted a little
No,
girl.
I mean that you were pregnant,
I wasn't pregnant.
not adoption.
We both told lies to the community.
Okay.
Okay? There was never going to be Jill pregnant.
All right.
Okay? We were going to adopt a child. No, we were not going to tell that the child was adopted. We were going to pass it off as our own.
Did you ever tell him or any of his friends that you were pregnant?
We both did.
You
it
did?
wasn't just Jill. It was both of us. We both said we were going to have a child.
So...
If I'm guilty of anything, that's what I'm guilty of.
This is another revelation from Jill because everyone, including Jerry and his family, believe she is pregnant. Meanwhile, Jerry's brother has his doubts about Jill. He hires a private investigator to dig into her past. What he finds shocks him. Not only has Jill been married 11 times, she's still married to one of her husbands.
So husband number
7's,
10?
no,
9?
7, 8, 7, 8, that
Okay.
range. Because remember, I married some people multiple times.
I can understand Jill's confusion. 9 men and 11 marriages is hard to keep track of, especially when you marry one man 3 times. But for Jerry, this is all too much, and he wants out. Jill agrees and soon has a new boyfriend, Michael Backus.
Michael Backus became a tenant.
Did he become anything more than a tenant? to
Yes,
you?
I broke my rule and had premarital sex.
Why did you break your rule?
I was just lonely.
Did you like him?
Yes, he was a nice person.
But Jill can't move on completely. To protect the B&B from her previous husband, she put it in Jerry's name. This leads to a bitter civil suit. But Jerry never gets his day in court. Thursday, October 21st, 1993. A witness testifies to seeing Jill and boyfriend Michael near Jerry's home. Jill is disguised. Prosecutors say they attacked Jerry with a stun gun. Hit him over the head and shot him 3 times in the back. A horrific way to die.
Jerry's shot to death in his own home.
Yes, Jerry's dead.
You are accused of that murder.
Yes.
You and your then boyfriend, Michael, are arrested.
Right.
Soon, we find out the truth.
Are you innocent?
Jerry Boggs has just been brutally killed in his own home. His brother discovers the body and immediately thinks Jill Coit is involved. He tells police about the upcoming civil trial and a trail of deception. The prosecution presents a theory. Jill murdered Jerry to reclaim her biggest asset, the bed and breakfast. Within a month, Jill and Michael are charged with first-degree murder. At trial, Jill's eldest son testifies against her, saying she confessed to him over the phone. Jill denies this.
So you did not call your son and say, essentially, it's over, it's messy?
No.
Didn't happen?
Didn't happen.
In fact, Jill claims at the time of the murder she was miles away camping with Michael.
I don't remember the name of the campground. You'll have to check the records on that.
How close was it to Steamboat?
Probably 3.5 hours.
She then goes on to explain that she recently had hip replacement surgery.
Right. It would have been impossible for me to have gotten up 2 flights of stairs where they said Boggs was killed in his house.
Then how did you go camping?
It was no problem. I merely used my walker. I sat on a rock. When you talk about camping, we didn't build campfires or anything else. I merely sat on a rock and watched the stream go by.
To this day, Jill states she is not responsible for the death of Jerry Boggs.
Are you innocent? Are you innocent?
Yes.
Did you have
Did I commit murder? No.
Did you have anything to do directly or indirectly?
No.
Okay.
At the trial, 2 other witnesses claim Michael and Jill asked them to kill Jerry.
A jury took only 5 or 6 hours.
Nothing. No one testified. Michael didn't testify and I didn't testify.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, why didn't you testify? I mean, you're on trial for your own life for murder.
I honestly believed I couldn't be convicted because I didn't do it.
The jury did find you guilty. Do you recall how you felt or what you thought when the verdict came in?
Actually, I was numb. Okay?
Yeah.
I thought, how can this be happening?
Okay.
Okay?
The court doesn't believe Jill's story. She is found guilty of first-degree murder, serving life without parole.
If you were released right now, would society be safe from you?
Society would be safe except for the fact that I would be on prison reform and I'd be talking about what happens in prison.
Okay.
I would be a crusader for stopping rape in prison.
Jill considers herself an advocate for prisoners' rights. She wants to bring their issues to the public.
What people don't realize is that approximately 100 women a month are raped by prison guards, and no one seems to care.
This interview has been full of surprises, from Jill's advocacy to new revelations about her case. Another surprising thing is her complete lack of compassion for the murder victim.
I'd like you to imagine for just a few moments that I am Jerry Boggs. What would you like to say to me?
I would like to say, who killed you? Because then that will get me out of prison.
Jill is certainly sticking to her story. It's completely at odds with all the evidence at her trial.
There are millions of young women and men watching this interview. If you could give them just one piece of advice, what would it be?
Be careful who you date.
That's the strangest response I've ever had to that question.
Thank you so much for sitting
Thank
down
you.
with me.
Thank you for interviewing me. It's a pleasure.
Jill was convicted of the murder of one husband and questioned over the killing of another. To lose one husband mysteriously shot in the back is unlucky.
Thank you, gentlemen.
But to lose two the same way